Steeler Nation, we are back with another great episode with a very special guest that you are familiar with. This is the one and only The Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. I am Jay York Football. As always, I am joined alongside by Mic'd Up Sports One, the Sports Almanac himself. Hey, what do you say? We have preseason football this Friday. It's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that insane? That just absolutely came out of nowhere. I feel like training camp just started. Everybody was reporting to Latrobe, with their PlayStations and their bags of chips, and now before you know it, it's the real thing. We got live football on an actual field, so I can't wait, man. Let's break it down today, and Shane, you can go ahead and run it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Blackout. Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
She is going to be all over your TV screen this fall and winter as if she wasn't already. Of course, contributor, NFL Network reporter, as well as analyst. We're really, really excited to bring her on today. It's none other than Bridget Condon. Bridget, what's going on?
Hi, how are you guys doing? Busy day in sports today. I'm like constantly looking. I'm at our office right now. I'm like, is the trade happening? Is something happening? Do I need to run out of here? It's fun. It's exciting. Like we got games this week. We're 30 days away from kickoff. What could be better?
Well, that's a perfect transition because everybody in Steeler land right now are freaking out over Brandon Aiyuk, which I'm sure if you're scrolling Twitter at all, he's been the number one trending topic for about 24 hours. What are your thoughts on this saga? I know that you're frequently out on the West Coast, right? So you've been relatively close to this and seeing how it's playing out. Is he going to be moved? What's going on?
I've been reading a ton of articles this morning, but I like to tend to listen to what our guys say. Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo, Tom Pelissero are NFL Network insiders, and they actually just went on TV, and Ian said that, because a lot of people are saying, okay, the Steelers seem to be out of the trade conversation. It's more Browns and Patriots. But he just said the Steelers are still very much involved. So for you guys, I would be excited. Brandon Aiyuk is a great guy. I covered him for a while. As you mentioned, being out here in LA, I cover a lot of 49ers. The problem with the 49ers is they have too many pieces. I think a lot of teams wish to have that problem, right? Because there's so many guys on that team. You just can't pay all of them what they want to be paid. And so you get into these situations where they are going to try and do everything they can to keep Brandon Aiyuk on that team, right? He is a huge piece of what they do on offense, and they want to go to the Super Bowl. They want to win the Super Bowl, right? That window that we talk about, the 49ers have all of that talent right now. They felt like they should have won the Super Bowl last year. They want to get back there. And obviously having Brandon Aiyuk on your team would be better than not if you're trying to get to the Super Bowl. But the thing is, he wants to get paid. And I believe that in his fifth year of that rookie deal, he's owed like $14 million this year, which we saw the wide receiver market reset this summer, and guys are getting paid $30-35 million a year. So he wants that kind of money. How are the 49ers going to come up with that? I don't think that they can. And that's why you're hearing these trade conversations start to pick up. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next couple of days because, as Ian just went on NFL Network and said, Brandon Aiyuk has a say in this. Yes, there's nothing in his contract like a trade clause, but he wants to get an extension. He's going to have, a little bit of a say of where he goes. It's not just going to be one of those situations where he ends up at some random team that we're all a little surprised by.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great to hear from somebody that's close to the situation that Aiyuk is a good guy. I never doubted that. Neither did Jordan. Obviously, we don't know him personally, so really impossible to comment on something like that. But he has naturally, based on what's developed, around the league, I guess, received that diva receiver tag. So it's good to hear that, at the end of the day, this is business. And if he does ultimately,
I think you could say that about any of them.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And if the Steelers want to win, it'd be nice having Brandon Aiyuk on the field, Jordan. But I'll throw it to you because I know. Speaking of throw it, our quarterbacks in Pittsburgh would love to have Aiyuk as well.
Yeah, so I actually just got back from Latrobe. I actually seen Ian Rappaport there, so shout out to the guys over at NFL Network. But let's just talk about, Kenny Pickett departure. He's with the Eagles now. We have Russell Wilson versus Justin Fields. Tomlin's come out time and time again and said that, Russell Wilson is in a pole position, but things are starting to heat up now. And I kind of agree with that. I think Russell Wilson earn that. But at the same time, it's like, I think that, it could be a 50-50 toss up depending on how the preseason goes and how the rest of camp goes. Just wanted to get your take on that, where you see that going.
If I'm a Steelers fan, which I'm not, I'm just saying, like, if I were to be one, I'm not a fan of anyone. I'd be really excited with the addition of both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. You talk about last year, and I covered a lot of Steelers toward the end of last season, and everything that was going on with the quarterback. Mason Rudolph was their starting quarterback towards the end of the year, and they made it to the wild card. Imagine if you had a Russell Wilson or a Justin Fields. Both of these guys immediately elevate the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think one of the things that we have to remember, there's so much hype around Justin Field, and we've seen some of the throws that he's made and one-handed catch that George Pickens made. And, there's so much hype. Well, Russell Wilson hasn't been practicing. I know he's starting to do more and his workload is increasing because of that calf injury, but I think it's a good problem to have. I think competition is great. Let these guys both go out there and play their best ball because it's going to elevate both of them. I think that we need to wait to see Russell Wilson work back in and get back to, doing the exact same amount as Justin Fields before making an assumption that one guy is going to be better than the other. But, also the addition of Arthur Smith, I think, has gone, maybe we haven't been talking about it as much as we should. Remember what he did with Ryan Tannehill? Ryan Tannehill was comeback player of the year in 2019. He had one of his best seasons under Arthur Smith. Yes, he didn't maybe succeed the way people wanted to see him succeed as the Falcons head coach, but he's a great offensive coordinator. And I think that you're going to see a lot more play action passes, something that the Steelers really didn't do last year. I think they were, bottom of the league when it came to play action passes. 8% of their passing plays. Atlanta was a top 5 team when it came to play action passes. You know who excels in play action passes? Russell Wilson. So, I think he's going to fit into this offense really well. And it's going to be exciting to see kind of a rebirth of both of these quarterbacks who I think maybe weren't in the best positions in seasons past.
Good to hear. I think I have to agree. And before I throw it back over to Mike, we had to talk some AFC North. Again, we're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. They're calling it the toughest division in football this year. Where do you see the Steelers in the pecking order? And do you think that they have a shot to possibly, be the Kings of the North again?
Yeah, I am not one to pick because I know that those videos go viral. When people say something wrong. But I will say I cover a lot of AFC North. I've been to Ravens and I've been to Bengals already this training camp. And I always say it's one of the toughest divisions in the entire league because of how physical those teams are, right? Like, you might not see a crazy score, but their defense is always going to, dominate. It's going to come down to the trenches in the AFC North. Whatever offensive line and defensive line stays the healthiest, that is who is going to succeed. It's always such tight, close games too between these teams. I think anybody can take it. Between the Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, I wouldn't be shocked if you said so-and-so is going to win. Okay. Or if you said so-and-so came in 4th in the division, because I think it's going to be a really, really tight window, a small margin for error. That's why these games, especially early in the season, are going to be so important.
Yeah, there you have it, Mike.
No question about that. We're hanging out with Bridget Condon here on the Sick Podcast Steelers. Crazy, find her on X at Bridget Condon _. Obviously, you are covering the whole league 24/7. I want to know, just, you got your finger on the pulse, some key storylines in your mind going into this season.
Wow. Right off the top, because I'm in LA, I want to know what Jim Harbaugh will do with the Chargers, right? He's been a proven winner at all of his stops. Can he turn around the Los Angeles Chargers? I think we've all been waiting to see Justin Herbert, Khalil Mack, Derwin James do what we thought that they would do. You talk about the AFC West. Remember 2 seasons ago, that summer, we were like, the AFC West is going to be dominant when Russell was in Denver and Mahomes and I think Jimmy G was in Raiders back then. All these quarterbacks change all the time. I can't keep track. But, I think going into that season, we were like, this is going to be the year for the AFC West. And it just didn't pan out that way. I want to see what's going to happen there. AFC North angle, the Ravens, when I was out there for training camp with Derrick Henry, I'm so interested to see, that's obviously opening game, Ravens at Kansas City. It's going to be so entertaining, because obviously that was a huge reason why they couldn't advance to the Super Bowl, was because they couldn't do anything on the ground. Well, now you get leading rusher in Derrick Henry. It's going to be fun. I also just remember how last year it was kind of the story of the backup quarterback. Curious to see which quarterbacks take off this season, and hopefully we're not talking about backup quarterbacks and we're talking about some of these big name quarterbacks like Joe Burrow and maybe Russell Wilson or Justin Fields taking that next step. Because you always want to see these guys when they get to their new stops excel. So it's going to be really interesting. I also am super excited to see the new kickoff. I've seen it a little bit at practices. Every team seems to be taking it a different approach. How is that going to impact the game? I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know when people are going to get up and go to the bathroom, because it used to be like, okay, I have 5 minutes to do it before we really get into action. Now it's like, oh God, they could score off of this.
you got to hold it. No question about that. You try and make it through the first quarter, at least, I suppose, until you're able to get a bathroom break. Bridget, I want to mention the fact that the Steelers opened their home season with the Chargers. So that really good call, week 3. Do you know your schedule yet? You're going to be in Pittsburgh potentially?
Potentially. So it's kind of funny. People are always like, where are you going to be? We don't find out the Monday until the Monday of game week where we're going.
Wow.
So I don't know. It totally depends, because we have 7 reporters. So it depends on the biggest games, which changes week to week, right? With storylines and if teams do well or whatever. But I have that game circled and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good one. I think, I don't know, in the beginning of the season too, there's so many good games because everybody's healthy and clean slate. Nobody's on a losing record typically, unless both of these teams drop the first 2, but I'd be surprised.
Rumor has it you love Pittsburgh in the wintertime.
Yeah, I remember being there, I think, Christmas weekend, a couple of days before Christmas. I think I had 3 pairs of leggings on and a thermal coat. It was great though. That stadium is awesome. I grew up in New England, so obviously know a lot about the Steelers. So just getting to go there and see it in action was awesome. And the fans are crazy.
Good stuff. Tell everybody where they can find you, Bridget.
Yeah, on Twitter at Bridget Condon _. Someone has Bridget Condon. I've been trying to get it, but they won't give it up. And then on Instagram at Bridget Condon TV. And I'll be all around, like you mentioned, on NFL Network. We cover the whole league. And I'm looking forward to getting out to Pittsburgh and hopefully before it gets too cold. Is it already cold there?
Nah, we're in the heat of summer. It's 90 degrees now, but I remember that game was at the Raiders game when it was the only time you could ever get Steeler tickets for $10. I think I got offered 6 different times because no one wanted to go.
Oh my God, because it was so cold.
Yeah, 2 years ago. It was negative 10 degrees. It was insane.
Yeah.
But
oh my God, I don't think I was there for that. I wouldn't have survived.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time. Keep up the good work, and we can't wait to see everything you got going on next. Thanks again.
Thank you. Good luck this season.
Thanks.
Thank you. See ya. Tell you what, Brandon Aiyuk has turned into the biggest NFL story in the past few weeks, overshadowing somehow Caleb Williams and the Bears right now. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, imagine overshadowing that.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers returning to the Jets, and all I see when I turn on NFL Network, and shout out to the to the, terrific reporting from Rap Sheet and Bridget's, I know, right there working with him. But everybody and their mothers just want to know where Brandon Aiyuk is going. I don't know if he'll go anywhere. Ultimately, he might stay in San Francisco when it's all said and done. But I joked yesterday that I muted the words Brandon and Aiyuk on X because for 4 months now, we've had about 6 people report each day that he was being traded to the Steelers. So until I see somebody like Rappaport break the news, I'm probably not going to know it because I muted his name, first of all, but I won't believe it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, and we all know, like, the season is approaching, and everyone, loves to get, click happy and just kind of have something to talk about. And yeah, I mean, I don't think Van Jefferson's the answer for number 2, but I will say this, Roman Wilson could be that guy. I mean, yeah, would I take Brandon Aiyuk for the right price? Heck yeah. But if it doesn't happen, I would say it's probably a 70-30 shot. I would be leaning towards more 70% that it's not going to happen. But hey, they call him the con artist, so I would never rule anything out until it's signed on the dotted line. But yeah, it does get frustrating just seeing it. Like at this point, like I'm just looking forward to the preseason game, kind of to just veg out and enjoy the game and watch some football. I tweeted it today too. I really like preseason because it's the only time that I could watch. Well, 2 reasons. Number one, I don't have to worry about getting a heart attack because and I could kind of just sit back and take it all in. But what I really like about it is guys that are making the 53-man
for sure.
Trying to make the 53-man roster. To some, it's meaningless football, but to others, it's their Super Bowl. And I'm always rooting for the underdog. And I know that the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, they always are really good about, giving those guys a shot. We've seen it with players in the past.
So how about our buddy, JRP, John Reese Plumlee? He might be the most fun to watch this preseason. He's going to get a lot of snaps, a big opportunity to show if he can be that Taysom Hill, Swiss Army knife kind of guy. Friend of the podcast. Hopefully he makes a team. And even if he doesn't, we plan on having him back because I think he would stick on the practice squad unless somebody poached him because he's definitely going to be appetizing to a lot of these teams. So want to 100% make sure everybody's watching him because for me, he is my number 1 player, at least not, in the starters or even the second team that I'm going to keep an eye on this offseason. That's for sure. This preseason.
Yeah. What are you doing for the game? Anything?
Man, I tell you what, I think I'm going to take a golf lesson on Friday at about 3:00. I played when I was in Pittsburgh these past 10 days with my dad. He might be watching. He watches a lot of shows, and he beat me both times. I hate to admit it on the show here. I need to get a little better. I'm getting older now, man. It's tougher to play basketball, which I love. It's tougher to play, dodgeball, rec leagues, whatever I'm doing. So I need to take my golf lesson, maybe have a couple beers afterwards, and then feel like I did something and earn the fact that I can veg out and eat some chicken wings or whatever watching the Steelers play against the Texans' first-team offense, at least in the first drive. Got to mention that too.
That's exciting. But yeah, I mean,
what are you going to do? Just relax?
Yeah, my daughter has swim school at 4, so I'll go do that, come home, take a shower, make some dinner and just kind of enjoy it. Just, again, no stress football for a little bit. And then, once September rolls around, I'm pacing back and forth in the corner doing the Hail Marys, but the crock pot will be going.
I'm still going to be stressed. I'm stressed watching the Pirates still.
Yeah. So don't even bring that up. I watched that game. Yeah. I was stressed too when they run it. Yeah. But
don't let Derek Shelton run the bullpen.
Oh yeah. But we appreciate Bridget for joining us. We're going to be cranking out great guests. We have some big announcements coming up for the season. Going to be, again, just, covering Steelers football all year, bringing the best in the game here on the Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. So make sure wherever you listen to us, subscribe, tell your friends, and keep on rocking in the free world. Shane, take it away.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.